Hello and welcome to, are we going to see some more Pacific Island teams? Well, I'm not sure if that's going to be the catchy title, but anyway, that's basically what we're going to talk about, is professional teams in the Pacific Islands. Currently, there's just one professional team and it's in the NRC, as you can see the title up there, which is the National Rugby Championship in Australia, which is what they decided in Australia was they needed a link between, or they needed a stepping stone between club rugby and Super Rugby, and so they brought in a national competition called the NRC because club rugby is at state level; it's not at national level. So hence they brought that in, and initially there were 4 teams in Sydney, 1 in Canberra, a couple up in Brisbane, 1 in Melbourne, and 1 over in Perth. So basically covering the 5 Super Rugby franchises that used to be there. Then they lost one of the Sydney teams, and then this year they've gone down to just 2 teams in Sydney. But last year they brought in a team from Fiji called the Fiji Drua. Now, they had a very successful first season. Their main problem was travel, and they had a few disciplinary issues as well, pretty prominently on the pitch. And then this year they've improved and they've just lost 1 game during the regular season, and we're about to hit the semi-finals now. So they've got themselves home advantage in the semi-finals and the final. They've got a very good chance of winning it. So basically, on the pitch, the Fiji Drua have been a massive success. It also means that this is giving the guys from the islands an opportunity to play professional rugby, and partially it's a shop window for them to go onwards, but it also just gives them that regular opportunity. Now, if we look at when I looked at the back in 2015 at the where the players were born, you saw that the Pacific Islands, but more so Samoa and Tonga, because of the immigration rules into Australia. Sorry, into New Zealand. What am I talking about? Had a lot of foreign-born players or first-generation Kiwis playing for them. Fiji less so because there's different immigration rules for Fiji, and there are a lot of players that were born outside of the islands playing for the islands. And so this is giving the guys who are actually born in the islands an opportunity, because obviously those born in New Zealand can come up through the pathways that New Zealand Rugby have. Those born in Australia, again, can come up through the pathways and the opportunities in Australia. This gives the guys back in Fiji an opportunity to play their rugby and play it while staying at home and helping with the family and all of that kind of stuff. The only thing is, where does the money come from for this? And the money for the Fiji Drua has been supplied by World Rugby. And so, but I say it has so far been very successful. So off the back of this success, what does that mean? It means that basically the Australian Rugby Union has reached out to World Rugby and said, hey, look, the Fiji Drua have been a success. How about another team for Samoa and or Tonga? So from what I understand, those so according to the Fiji Village website, those conversations have started. I think it's a very good move, personally, to see, because it gives them the stepping stones. And the other side of it is also we've all want to see, or no, not all, but anyway, a lot of us have wanted to see a Super Rugby franchise set up in Fiji or in the Pacific Islands. And as we've seen with the way that the Jaguares and also with the way the Sunwolves have gone in Super Rugby, if you try and set up a team from scratch, and historically we've seen this also in the Melbourne Rebels and the Force as well, the Western Force, is that the teams take a long time or take a long while to get up to speed. I mean, this season, the Jaguares, even though they're part of the Africa Conference, didn't win 1 game in South Africa. They had a great tour of Australia and New Zealand, so you can see they're coming on now. That's like 4 years it's taken for them to start getting competitive and that kind of way. The Sunwolves, a couple of good results this time. They're definitely improving, but they're even further behind than the Jaguares. So by having the Fiji Drua, this is giving this is enabling them to put together some of the structures and start some of the financial and off-field relationships they're going to need with businesses, so that when the Super Rugby side does get set up, at least they're not starting from absolute zero. They do have some foundations of sort of team structures they can use to put together a Super Rugby side, and hence why I think it's important that the sooner we can get NRC teams in Samoa, in Tonga, the sooner the better chance we'll have of any Super Rugby side that might be based out there, or even based, even if it's shared amongst the three Pacific Island countries, and they go around there. It does mean that there'll be more of an infrastructure in place with commercial relationships and all of that kind of stuff that will help support any Super Rugby franchise that gets set up. So I think this is all massively positive. Hopefully, World Rugby can find the cash to pay for this. They're clearly they're not massive wages. Let's hope that we do see an expansion of the NRC into either or both of Samoa and Tonga. I think its size in Australia is probably about right. There may be room for another team in Sydney, but first off, they need to sort out the Shoot Shield and Australian Rugby Union politics first, because this year the Shoot Shield running into having its final on the first weekend of the NRC really did not help either of the two Sydney sides, and hence we saw them come bottom and second to bottom in the table. So yeah, that's something that does need to be sorted out. But otherwise, the NRC looks to be going in a good direction, including these Pacific Island sides. Definitely gives it an interest that no other competition can have or does have and can bring. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you're still here, up there, I'm going to put a logo where you can subscribe to my channel. Over here and down here, whoops, daisy. We're going to have some cool videos, so do go and click on those and watch those as well, please. Enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.